over Christmas, I was playing, as we do each year, Monopoly with the family. And this Monopoly was a version of it I'd not played before, Yellowstone Monopoly. And I couldn't help but notice on the box, the age limit was 16 plus. Now, I'll be honest, I had a look since and I saw the original Monopoly is, I believe, 8 plus. But it got me thinking at the time about lessons that Monopoly taught me as a kid. And I was initially a bit shocked. I thought, 16 plus, this sort of stuff should be taught from a very young age. I still think 8 plus is probably still too old. I know that for me, Monopoly was probably the best lesson in how to handle money I had as a kid. I wasn't taught it at schools. I wasn't really taught it by my parents. I got a job when I was 16, but long before that, Monopoly had played a big part in learning about buying and selling and assets and cash. And I didn't really get that from anything else. Some of the lessons that Monopoly taught me: cash flow management, risk versus reward, diversification, bad timing, derailing good plans. All of these things play a part. And over the years, you start to hone these skills on correct timings, on how to manage your cash, the right purchases, understanding the value of money and the value of property. And learning all of this from a young age, I think, set me up quite well. Now, I'm not saying that nobody's playing Monopoly anymore, but I am still very, very conscious that schools don't teach money to kids. Now, it's something that I have started to do as a chartered financial planner. I've gone into schools, delivered some workshops, delivered some talks, and I do this through the CII's Education Champion program. And I am always a little bit surprised at the lack of knowledge, but also combined with that is there's no lack of engagement, there's no lack of questions. Children want to know about money, they're very aware of it, but I don't think they've got the right education, or at least they're not getting that education from the right sources. Now, I am aware that the government are trying to introduce financial education into the curriculum, and I'm told this is going to start in 2028. I've not seen the curriculum, I don't know what it involves, but I hope it's focused on more than just how to avoid crypto scams and how to use a bank card, because I think there are so many lessons that can be taught to children at a young age around bigger topics that at the moment we feel might be too complex for them to understand, like long-term investing or the power of compounding. These should be taught from a young age because they should be instilled into people before they go into the world of work. I think we're pretty bad at this in the UK. I think there are other countries, but the US is a good example, that do this a hell of a lot better than we do. The grasp of investments, the willingness to invest their money as opposed to leaving their money in cash, and the whole cash is king concept has never really been a thing over in the US. You know, they talk about their 401ks, they talk about the stocks they're buying. It's not a taboo subject like it is in this country. And I think that's something that I'm really keen to be part of trying to change. There are lots of individuals out there now that are part of that journey as well. And I think social media has actually been very good for it. It's also been bad. Like, I've seen some content creators who are selling the get rich quick schemes and taking advantage of people's lack of financial education. But on the flip side, there are brilliant content creators. There's some really good regulated financial planners out there also making good educational content. And that should be the initial source that people should be going to start their journey on financial education if they've not learned anything from schools. Like I said, from 2028, it might be something that we don't need to worry about as much because there's good courses being delivered to schools from ages of 13 potentially. And they haven't quite decided, or they haven't agreed upon the age that they're going to start introducing these courses into the curriculum. But it's one to watch. Personally, I'd love to be involved if I can be. I believe there's some consultation going on between the government and various bodies as to how best to deliver it. But for now, back to Monopoly. I think, certainly from my point of view, it was one of the best financial lessons I was taught as a youngster. And even today, Monopoly might well be, accidentally, one of the best financial education tools available. The earlier you learn about how actual money behaves and learning those behaviours, the better your future financial decisions will be. So without sounding like a granddad, instead of scrolling through TikTok for a few hours, try getting a Monopoly board out